Hello and welcome to Leash Dad's podcast. That's Justin.
That's Jared.
We are two leash dads that get together to discuss our everyday lives while chained to our parental responsibilities. And tonight we are going to discuss social media as parents, and as something. I don't know. My computer just did a thing there. But
It did
yeah,
a thing. Social media.
what is your stance? And I think your kids are a bit young, but I could be wrong on having their own social media profiles in this wonderful day of like 1,000 different websites to
Huh.
use.
So you mean like having a Facebook page or a TikTok page or
Instagram, Facebook,
just
TikTok,
accounts in
YouTube.
general?
Yep.
Any type of social media, like
Yep.
because I mean you got to remember social media is a broad spectrum here. We're
Yeah.
talking social media is like the umbrella of everything, where it could be anything from networking sites to blogs to the others, as I was reading this before, the others, which is like Facebook and LinkedIn, things like that. Um, what are my takes? I don't know. I like what social media has done, where it does require you to be a certain age, unless mommy and daddy say, "Hey, here you go," and create the profile for you. Um, but most often or not, you have to be a certain age to do that. Which is, I think,
Okay.
Facebook was like 13 years old at one point, like the restrictions to actually create your own account. If Because I remember when you started making an account, you had to provide your birthday, like year and everything. So obviously it knew that if, hey, you're not 13 yet, so you need mommy and daddy's consent or whatnot.
Well,
You-
I mean, I love to put the trust in the kids as much as possible, but at the same time, you can lie on that.
well, yes, but maybe a 13-year-old isn't going to necessarily consider, oh, let me lie about my age. They might just try it. Or they are those people that like to lie about it and go from there. I don't know. But me, myself, and I, when I was younger, I wasn't going to lie. I had no reason to lie about my age at that point. I was creating social media, like Facebook at the time. I was 13 when I think it came out. So I don't. It's been a while.
MySpace, maybe, but not Facebook.
God, I don't even remember MySpace. MySpace is like almost the original social media at that point.
Right.
I don't. I wonder if it's still around. No, they probably shut it down, right?
No, I mean, if it is, it's like super sketch, but
Does MySpace still exist? It does. It's still active today. Well, that
who
was
the
back.
hell's on there?
I don't know. I remember when Tom was your first friend, though.
Right.
Hi, my name's Tom. But yeah, no. What my thoughts here, though? I mean, I'm curious to what other people think too. Um, I I really think if you're going to let your children have social media, you're going to need to have them show some sort of maturity. And I say that because the shit they're going to see on their pages or other things that come up, you know, you one maturity, two, you've got to have a lot of trust in your child because you don't know what they're going to do. And right now, I know Kane's got his own Facebook page or Facebook account.
Okay. So he. Oh,
Um,
okay.
so he's got access to it, right? And at first, it was just for Facebook Messenger and everything, where we had access to it, so he could stay in contact with people. But now, since he's got a phone and everything, he's kind of had his own account and everything. Um, it, he hasn't, and to my knowledge, he hasn't done anything like incredibly stupid on it. He does like
How
he
would you
does what
know?
his I wouldn't, but he does what his
Right.
mom does. Essentially, just kind of scrolls around on Facebook, right? He has used Marketplace before, but he doesn't necessarily do anything like go on his own and buy it. he'll like be like, hey, I saw this, I want to go, can we go buy this? Or especially when he's looking for bikes or things like that,
Yeah.
because obviously he's been huge into outdoors, he's been huge into biking. We kind of actually found one of his bikes off of Facebook or whatever. So, and if people are willing to go take him places, it's one thing, right? Just to go get that. But he's got to understand that it's his own money too. So
Right. And that way too, you're taking him to these places. It's not like he's walking around town to buy.
exactly,
So
he's not just going on his own or getting snatched up. So
right.
yeah, but
Do you feel that at some point you would need to monitor his activity on Facebook? Like, is there a point where you would get concerned enough to find a way to monitor or shut it down?
yeah, it's a huge thing, right? Monitoring or having control over somebody's face or like social media content or just accounts is huge as a parent.
Yeah,
Um, I think that's one reason why parents, for those that are giving account or access to accounts for children that are younger than like 13 or whatnot, have to give their consent, because one, that yes, you're still giving your children trust, but at the same time here, um, you want to be able to monitor, make sure they're not doing it. Your children aren't doing anything that's going to cause issues in the long run, or remember, your children aren't as protected on the internet as you think they are. They could do stupid things. They could be looking at some inappropriate things, by all means.
oh yeah,
Uh, they could be getting into some random chat groups or whatever that is going to cause some issues, or they're going to see some, like I said, inappropriate content. And I'm not talking like the sexual stuff, any of those porno sites or anything like that. I'm talking like people are just bashing people left and right because they feel protected because they're behind a computer screen or a phone or something of that
right.
nature. They're not necessarily face to face. Like, you probably wouldn't be as courageous to say something to somebody's face just because your personality dictates that. You are, you're, I'm not, Jared, I feel protected because I'm behind a screen, so I'm going to call you, a penis head. Not exactly a great insult, but I feel, right? I feel more protected and able to call him that just because there's a screen that we're between, basically. No, by any means, obviously Jared knows I'm kidding. Or am I?
You can call me a dickhead. I don't care.
No, I know, I know.
But so yeah, I mean, from your point, I if if and when the time comes, I hope and pray that we won't be a family that is on social media that much. I'm only on it now, and don't get me wrong, I think it's good to a certain point, but you cannot control what other people, to Justin's point, are saying and what you're watching them say via comments or whatever. And online bullying is still pretty relevant and huge. And there are steps being taken by each platform to try and combat it, but at the end of the day, you still have like a 24-hour window of you seeing it before it gets taken down, kind of thing. And
Oh,
I guess I don't have enough knowledge on each system to know if somebody immediately starts posting hate comments, if that automatically just gets flagged, or if it really does. See, yeah, so it does take like 24 hours or whatever before
I
it
don't
gets
even think it
removed.
actually necessarily gets flagged. It's I would say that it depends on the severity of the filters that the social media has set up, right? Now, obviously, people are always going to find ways around it too.
Right.
Uh, as much as they, for example, they may have said something and maybe it does get pulled right away. Like there's that really quick filter that says, hey, you have some explicit content on here. It is not going to be posted. So they delete the post, or the post automatically gets deleted, but then the person comes up with another way to go about getting that post on there.
Yeah. So back to
Yeah.
my original point is that I hope when my kids are the age where they either have a cell phone or they're around the internet. Because remember, folks, I want to get to a certain point where I'm out in the country away from this all. I don't want to be in public schools. I do not want to be in the city anymore. So if I could get my especially my kids that I want to protect them from, I don't feel that social media is helpful enough to condone it be a thing in their lives. I have not had a good relationship with it at all. From my personal point of view, I was using it as a tool to, what is it, the dopamine thing where you get you get some sort of high when you see that somebody likes your post or whatever. I was so self-aware that I began to catch myself going on my phone every 10 minutes just to feel something, was occupying my time rather than what I was supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if you're self-aware enough where you can step back and set times throughout the day to go on it instead of just automatically going on it every time you're bored or every time you don't want to do something, which is what I was doing.
So I mean, you have obviously cut back from social media at one point, and now you're back on it
I'm
to a
back
degree.
on it for the sole purpose of trying to get reach for my future career goals. That's the
Yes,
only reason why I'm back on it.
and I say that sounds like an oh shit moment or an oh ha moment right there.
Yeah.
Why?
Per my
Yeah,
TikTok video I just made tonight.
yeah, yeah. I reposted that shit too.
Yep.
So
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah, no problem. Tried to get that spread out there. I mean, it's great because those are inspirational by all means, or just eye opening as well. It's like, yep, oh shit, what am I gonna do? And come to think of it, honestly, I think that's kind of what people need to hear. Um, but I was gonna ask you, based on the oh shit moment here, um, have and I've even maybe realized this too. It's like people do spend a shit ton of time on social media
Oh God.
because it's at their fingertips,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, I don't care if it's like Facebook or TikTok. I've spent countless hours on TikTok already, um, just scrolling around aimlessly. Heck, I've been saving just my kids. They will sit with me and they want to watch these like little AI generated videos about your month equals whatever. So like on TikTok, there's like they have these AI generated things, and it's like your month equals your prison, like your jail cell.
Oh.
And the jail cell is actually really cool. It's not. I mean, it could be really scary or messed up. Like sometimes the prison cell is like a video game prison cell. Like all you can do is just play electronics there. I mean, what kind of prison is that? It's not really a prison. But otherwise, sometimes you just get like the very crappy prison where you get a lot of like killer clowns or something like that. You're like, yep, I'm not gonna live in that thing for very long. I'm dead already. But yeah, so they enjoy going through that, or like uh, your birth month equals your car
Yeah.
and things like that. They enjoy going through that with me. I'm not trying, I'm by no means am I ever trying to find inappropriate content for them to watch on TikTok because there's definitely quite a bit out there. And I was gonna make a point about TikTok too, like the whole flagging things. I know somebody that's actually had their account banned because of the content they post.
Okay.
So they've had to make a second account. And I think they're being more careful of what is being posted. But, TikTok is still trying to prevent, uh, obviously, the hate the hate, the speeches, things like that, hate crime, just hate speech. And I'm not saying that's what this person was ever posting was hate, but it
Yeah.
was, there's strong political points, there's strong this, strong that, um, just to the degree that it went past the terms of services.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can go on another video just about trying to be content creators, including this channel. I for you for you 4 new subscribers if you watch this on Sunday. Um, last Sunday was an experiment that I tried, and honestly, I think it went okay. But if we can have an episode dedicated to what it's like to upload to these social media platforms, I think that'd be good because I'm learning. I'm a 33-year-old millennial who's on MySpace originally, represent, and then was
Yep.
on Facebook for way too long, and then I was an avid YouTube watcher because of I don't know, I like cars. They have a lot of good car stuff on YouTube and everything, and music. So I don't, and then I also saw what it was like to like get hate comments and some of the shit on YouTube. And this is where I'm going with this is that no matter what no matter what platform you use, there's always going to be some shysters who think they're hot shit and want to just sit there and comment
Yeah.
negative shit because it makes them feel better. And if I could have my daughters, hell, even my wife, I mean, she doesn't really create much content, but if she did, I wouldn't want them to feel that bullying from these shysters who think they're hot shit. I don't want that in their life because at one point it did affect me. Now I could just care less. I had one comment the other day on Unlocking Jarred about what the hell was it? Oh, me using the word journey apparently is girly. Don't watch my damn content then. Come on. If you're going to be that close minded and stupid, go on. I
Can I
don't
take you?
need you
Can
on
I
my
take you on a
channel.
magical journey?
Yeah. Yeah. Your journey in life. You're an idiot.
Okay. What other words? Let's take
I
you on a
don't
voyage.
know.
I,
But
I'm
that
just I'm
but
just
but that's my point. That's my point. He's being an idiot.
yeah. Nope, no, voyage is too girly. Oh,
Right.
let's think. While on your road of discovery, let's think of just synonyms for journey.
When you
Go,
treat life like it's a dirt road with your truck, on that dirt road when you're climbing down it, wait, want me
yeah,
to do
okay.
that?
So let,
Want
let
me to do
me
that?
let me make it more masculine and more wordy. Dirt road,
Yeah.
your truck, your dog,
Yeah,
a couple bottles
your
of
life is
beer.
like a dirt road. Is that
Great.
manly enough for you?
Hopefully not, but I get where you're coming from, right? One word, and just again the fact that they're able to hide behind their comment of
Right.
journey is too girly. Like they're hiding behind their again screen. At least the way I see it is, thanks for watching the content.
Yeah.
I
Thanks for your review, but
appreciate
get the hell out of here.
I appreciate your review, but at the same time, I need respect.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, to that point though too, I actually wanted to bring this and play a little devil's advocate though, or just even raise another idea here. Is social media, or would you then say social media is more for those that are considered thick skin? Because if you're talking about not wanting your daughters or those who may be somewhat more sensitive, for lack of, well, I won't say lack of terms, but just to be able
Yeah.
to like emotionally sensitive or anything, should they avoid social media?
Yeah. If you're gonna take to heart anything negative that comes to you and God knows that I have, even if it's via, career too, negative reviews or negative whatever the hell in my job. I used to really take that personally and get super offended. And it used to just, so I guess if you're not super sensitive and you just, whatever, they're an idiot, get lost. They don't understand, go ahead. Do it. Get as many profiles as you want.
Okay. That's fair. I'm just saying sometimes, as much as we want to protect our kids from every little thing, we as adults and parents have to understand we can't necessarily protect them from all of it, right? Again, playing the devil's advocate here, in order for them to become or build that thick skin, something has to come from somewhere. Now, I don't necessarily want my child being targeted by this stuff, but I want them to experience it a little bit. I'm not saying, hey, okay, go on social media, become a target of cyberbullying or anything like that. Like, I know I hate the idea of saying I want to keep them. I do want to keep them safe, but at the same time, they're still going to come around it, and they still need to understand what's going on. And this is going to be one of those ways to let it spread a little bit, even though everybody's trying to stop the spread of hate or anything, right? We all do what we can. But I feel like that way is making us way too soft. Like the world that
So
we live
your
in now.
argument is more of protecting a generation from being too soft and exposing them to hateful comments and bullying to make them thick-skinned.
Not necessarily thick skin, just to get them used to it in a way. Maybe to help build the immunity, like where it doesn't bother them as much. So yeah, I guess it would be thick skin in that long run. But just knowing that it's out there, not like all of a sudden be shocked by the fact that something happened, right? Or let them understand that there's going to be that shit out there, but they don't have to pay attention to it. Uh, Basically, they can just go, "Yep, doesn't concern me" or anything like that. Um, or maybe I think sometimes maybe it's a good idea to have them experience it a little bit or know that it's out there again. That
Yeah.
way, again, they're not necessarily like, mom, I just saw this, and this is really bad. They have somewhat of oh, okay, I'll move on.
Yeah.
And
I
this
think
is
a
also a way
lot of
to
that's
teach them not to partake in
psychological.
that shit either.
Right. I
Because,
think a lot of it just depends on the person.
well, I would
Like,
say
there are
so, but
obviously things that happen in a child's life where they're going to grow up to be a little bit more sensitive. And there are, proven ways to have a stable environment at home and bring up a child with thick skin, right?
mm-hmm.
I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. I want to be a psychologist, but I'm not. So I can't really comment further. But
Well, I want to be a hygienist, and I'm working on that.
I do see your point. I would want to live in a world again where, I don't know if you've seen Mel Brooks movies, but I would love to live in a world again where Mel Brooks can make a movie like he did in the 80s. But it's not
You
going
mean
to
like
happen.
Lethal Weapon?
No, like Blazing Saddles. I don't have it behind me anymore.
Oh,
Like Blazing
Gene
Saddles
Wilder and Mel
or
Brooks, huh?
Spaceballs or something. I mean, you guys, you can't make that movie anymore because you'd get canceled immediately.
Yeah. Everything is like that's why I'm saying everything has become so sensitive. Like
Well,
like
it's because
this
I don't want to
generate
get into
the
this.
generations now have become soft because everybody's trying to protect them in a way that it's
Oh God,
overprotecting.
I know. So, folks, Leash Dad's podcast, we have a bit of a unique situation here. I would want to protect and distance my family, my kids from social media completely, and JJ wants to build their tough skin.
Yeah.
to try to get them not so sensitive. I would
More like I just want to
teach.
desensitize them.
Well, yeah, I mean that. So I understand your point. I totally understand your point, and to your point, I would want to make sure that my kids can laugh at themselves, laugh at
Yeah.
the mistakes they make, instead of taking shit too seriously, like
Well,
the rest of the world does.
that's the part of
Like a word is a
desensitizing it.
word, unless you a word is a word. If you say that word, okay, unless you have some sort of deep brooding hatred for whatever you're saying with that word, it's just a thing you say. Like I had an argument with my parents like a month ago or so about my kids saying like just something stupid little like dang it or damn it or whatever the hell.
Mm.
And I said it's a word, Dad. I'm not sure, it's not like they're sitting here when they say it, damn it all to hell, God. It's a word. They don't feel anything with it. They've overheard their parents say it multiple times.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's where they pick it up from. Like
I
for
know.
them, it's another word. And now, see, that's funny because we talk about that. You're on that aspect. I mean, I'm laughing at this now because I'm thinking about it. It's like we, for the longest time, are trying to tell our kids we don't swear in the house. You know, like say "damn it" or "fuck" or things of that nature, right? Because those words are going to get you into trouble. Like
Yeah.
those
I mean,
words
I
have
think we had an
always gotten
episode about
people into
that.
trouble. It's like, why? Like you're right,
Right.
Jared. Those words are just words. Like they've had, like fuck. You know, I just remember watching on internet the content of a long time ago, uh, the history of the F word.
I love that video. Yes. Okay,
Yes.
folks, right now, if you're listening, remember that video. If you've not seen it, go to YouTube. History of the F word. Trust me, you'll laugh your ass off. Especially
You
if
should.
you're not sensitive to the word fuck. Please. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It
so
is hilarious.
true. And
It is
so
true.
true.
Just knowing that the history, that no matter where you look,
They're
somewhere
in
in the
for
world,
frickin'.
frickin' to strike.
Yes.
But it's like, seriously, you think of that. All those curse words or swear words out there have some other meaning. But yet we have somehow, as a world, decided to say, no, this word is now a swear word.
Yep.
Or
It's,
we've given it, it's just carried on some derogatory for some reason. Or some way of being demeaning or just inappropriate.
yeah. And so I grew up not being able to curse in the house. I could barely say God. I could barely say, oh my God. I could barely. So what did I do when I left the house? I was cussing left and right, and my friends and I were just F this, F that son of a bitch. And to this day, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me as a person to say that. Would I want my kids to say the F word? Probably not, because it's not really necessary. But when they get the teenagers, what?
See, right now, as they're little, it will be
Right.
like, don't say it. But that even brings
But
up another valid point too. When do you stop caring, or when do you just like go, there's, there it goes.
probably when they're at the age of expressing it properly, as well as being able to use it properly, instead of just, I don't know, it's complicated. I have a weird relationship with this because obviously of the way I grew up. But
Mm-hmm.
if I don't want to get cussed at from my kids, if and that's kind of out of respect. I don't know.
Like, Dad, you're a
I'm getting
fucking
myself
idiot.
into a hole for sure. It's weird.
Like just saying, Dad, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, it's like, no, that's kind of rude. But like, if Jesus Christ, if you saw that fucking car crash on the road the other day, or Dad drove by that huge fucking car crash,
Well, you said you didn't want to be sworn at, so I was using it as a swearing at you,
Yeah.
not necessarily. Oh yeah, Dad drove past this car crash. Whoop-de-doo. It's like they're not swearing at you; they're swearing. They're having a conversation, but using those words. Those
My teacher
now.
gave me an F yesterday. I'm so fucked. That I would accept.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't if
So
I was like
yeah,
a 6-year-old or a
you are.
7-year-old. I mean, yes, I don't know. I really think when it comes down to it, it all depends. But social media, folks, is going to be where you know that exposure is really going to start happening.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say that just because of the nature. Like friends, family, other people out there, they're going to say it. But I think nowadays, social media is where most children are going to be exposed to derogatory terms or just other
Bullying.
things. The cyberbullying, um, but there needs to be some sort of my opinion again. There needs to be some sort of exposure. That way, your children can maybe be desensitized. Now, I agree though, Jared, that I want to say that they need to be desensitized. So yes, they can still laugh at themselves. I don't want them to destroy their humanity or their personality because they're being bullied. I'm just saying children, people need to be exposed to this stuff so that it's again not as shocking or it doesn't happen and then they can build on their character and allow them to continue to laugh at themselves when they do make mistakes or there is something like show that the person that is bullying them or be able to stand up for something or someone and put that bully down in a sense. Knock that bully off their pedestal that they think they're on and make
Well,
them realize it's like, oh, this person isn't actually being affected by it.
yeah. And best case scenario, though, you don't engage yourself in an argument like that online. Just don't even acknowledge it because that just gives them more power.
It does. Yes. I mean, if you engage it online, yes, I would certainly agree. Um, just because everything gets interpreted differently too. So more or less be careful what you post or do decide to do online. But just let your kids know, or I say, just let the kids feel some of the exposure. Get exposed to it. Maybe in small dosages.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be like deep dive.
Yeah. And please, talk with your kids if they're on social media and you may have concerns or you just want to get an open communication going about what they're seeing and what they're doing. That's good too. Like, so I support you. You do whatever you want to do, but know what you're doing. So if my 14-year-old daughter comes to me and said, I want to, hop on social media or Instagram, I'm going to say, okay, just so you know, there are blank, blank, and blank at risk here. If you ever get into the weeds on some of this stuff, just feel free to come and talk to me and we can talk it out. Where I grew up in a household kind of where social media was kind of a faux pas and I was not able to talk about it kind of thing because I wasn't really supposed to be on it. It was demonized.
Mm-hmm.
But if I were able to talk with my parents and said, hey, I'm really upset because, so and so knocked me out of their top 8 on MySpace. What am I going to do?
You're gonna cry about it.
Right.
You're gonna cry about it. So
And then, well, don't worry about it. It's a big game. If I had that conversation instead of getting wrapped up in the drama, it would have been a lot different.
it's a game of numbers. It's a game of interactions with that person too. Yeah, certainly. But no, so as we talk about this too, talking about the exposure and social. There's a kid behind us. He's sitting there smiling because he knows I'm talking about him. There's 2 of them actually. But the funny thing is, the other day, and just knowing what my children know, the other day one of my kids came downstairs while I was playing a game, and I had sworn. Okay, I dropped a couple f-bombs, and he comes downstairs and says, "Dad, don't say the f word."
Said that one?
No, it's the other
No.
one behind the chair. But it was just one of those things. I'm like, he called me out so hard. Just like he's being exposed to it. He understands it's not a proper word to use. But I was expressing, resentment towards a video game or
Right.
somebody through a video game. But he came down and called me out and said, "Don't say the F word. It's a bad word, Dad." So at least he knows it was that one that just popped up. But no, I did also want to say this, folks. Just for it being out there. This episode is brought to you by Unlocking Jarred Potential. Because where there's inspiration, there's Jared.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And if you're not inspired by Jared, you better be inspired by Leash Dads. Because we're going to unlock a new community, a parenting community for you and anyone else that's looking for advice. Or just, wants to hear stories about our parenting life and our children.
Yeah. We want your comments too, as long as they're constructive and positive.
If they're negative, oh well, we'll just read them and maybe weep a little bit, but at least we're desensitized.
Right.
So, any closing thoughts, Jared, at all?
No, like I said, know what you're doing, know what you're getting into, and make sure your kids know as well before they jump on that Instagram. And don't let it run their lives. Just have it a fun little thing to either grow their digital platform and hopefully make a career out of it, or just have some fun. Don't get too serious about it. That's all I got to say.
All right. Well, with that being said, folks, enjoy your social media. Be safe. Don't do anything we wouldn't do, and keep your kids safe while slightly exposed.
Yeah.